Why is it Koffee Kuhlman?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What's up?
Why were you a barista or something for a while? Were you...
No, actually, I was just addicted to it. I mean, you've seen the Starbucks coffee tattoo on my arm.
Oh, fuck.
So I started going to music stores, and it's stuck because I always had Starbucks in my hand.
Now, does Starbucks give you any kind of anything for advertising?
For the longest time, I would go to Starbucks in different cities, and they would always seem to hook it up and be in awe. I've taken pictures with the baristas and stuff.
Be like, wow, check out this weirdo.
You ever banged a barista?
Can't say I have.
Well, I knew I was going to get in trouble right off the bat.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we like to come into episodes just already talking, I guess.
Yeah, we do.
There's no formal intro bullshit anymore.
No, that's lame.
We don't care.
That's for professionals.
You don't care. We don't care.
People who know what they're doing.
Why would I care?
Yeah, Neil doesn't care.
Minor Disturbance Radio, episode 21. We called the last episode 21 because we were drunk.
And high.
Well, I can't. We may or may not have known some people that were partaking in the cloud of confusion, but secondhand smoke can get you too, apparently.
Cloud of clarity.
Oh yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. Neil is would you consider yourself the lead guitar player or one of the guitar players, or how does that work? Because in the way I always put bands together is if the guitar player that just holds a guitar and kind of has a lot more tattoos, they're the lead guitar player.
Well, technically, I'm the rhythm guitarist.
Okay.
But if Tony's watching, I'm the important one. So.
Right.
And Tony will be watching.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I dig that idea. I've always wanted to have two guitar players in my band. And
it adds a cool 3D element to it.
We could never find the other guitar player. Either one, they hated our music, or two, they hated me. Or both.
Or see both.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of why I turned you down. You know what I mean? I'm trying to remember.
Well, we asked you to wear a wig.
Yeah, that's what it was.
No,
man.
actually, I would have taken you, Travis, and we're already off track because I already had this listed out of how I wanted to do this show.
Fuck your list.
Fuck my list.
They're overrated.
No, I don't think you guys mind much.
Preparedness is overrated.
But when you had the four braids sticking out the top of your head, you were completely bald everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And he had like 4 braids like these antennas sticking out of the top of his head.
I wanted to look like a plastic fern.
Yeah.
Hey, it was a cool look. I liked it.
I remember actually having that conversation with somebody in my band, maybe Jerry Smith or something, and we were looking for another guitar player, and your name came up, and I said, what about Travis? And we all got thinking about it.
Wig.
And we went, that hairdo is kind of awesome. Because if you had that hairdo in our band, it would almost legitimize us,
Right. I would make you current.
That one band, something Hammer, something, the dude with the 4 antennas.
Right.
That plays way better than the other guy that calls himself the lead guitar player.
But they were playing harmony sweep arpeggios, dude. I'd never seen that before.
No, we weren't.
No, we weren't.
We weren't.
We decided against
I don't want to work that fucking hard, Travis.
We decided against that.
Yeah.
Thank God, cleaner heads.
Yeah.
Clearer heads.
I was thinking more of the presidents of the United States with the 2 strings on the guitar.
Yeah, dude.
What do you need the other ones for?
Exactly.
It's the 90s. Fuck you.
Yeah, right.
Nobody does solos.
It's all filler.
Exactly.
Shit.
It's all just a bunch of fucking lists that you try to do your radio broadcast to.
So, anyway, to bring you guys up to speed, if you're not familiar with Neil Koffee Kuhlman, he is a guitar player in 3 Years Hollow, a very successful local band. I still call you local. I shouldn't call you local because you're a national band now.
We're from here. We're local.
Yeah, but they're starting to jump off, and I'm sure that if you're in a band and you're watching the show, you know who 3 Years Hollow is, and I probably don't have to say too much about them. I guess the question that most musicians that are in this scene, that are trying to attain that next step of whatever this is that we're after, what insights can you give us on, where you're at, where 3 Years Hollow is in their career, where you think you are in in the career, and kind of where you guys want to be?
Oh, I mean, just like any band, we want to be at the top, of course. I mean, that's what you're working for. We found out you pay dues to get to a certain level, and then once you reach that when you sign to a label, you start all over. You start paying dues all over again. You may have been doing really well on that level you were at, but once you cross that threshold, it's a whole new ball game, and you're starting all over again. And that's kind of where we're at right now. We're on the road all the time, but we're not making great money. But I mean, you're striving to get to where you are making money, and then from there, you strive for the top, to be on top of the charts, to be in top 10 every song you do, and like that.
So how's that going for you? I mean, I got to be honest. I'm a father of two, a married man, self-employed, have a band, all these things going on. It's hard for me to keep track of exactly what's going on in every band's career. That's why I have them come in here and talk to me about it. So where are you guys at? Well, I mean, because I know the record's been out for a while. How's the response been?
It's been really good, and we've actually been selling quite a few on the road. People seem to dig it, and we've got our second single coming out soon, so hopefully that one will have a little more longevity than Hungry did, which Hungry's still being spun, and it's getting good reviews still, but it's kind of tapered off. You know how it kind of runs its course, and then...
What is the second single?
It's going to be For Life.
For Life, yep. Okay.
One of my favorite songs on the album.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what my favorite jams is on the record, and I don't know if I said it before, but Fallen is... Oh, goddamn. It's the jams.
It's a great song.
The riff in that is exactly why I always wanted two guitar players. And I remember I told Tony, I said, if you guys make it big and you come back and play the iWireless, I want to come play Fallen with you for your sound check. Just so I can play it once in the big ass PA in an arena. You know what I mean?
That'd be badass.
Yeah. I have a hard time saying in an arena. In an arena. I have to work on that, because when you do these...
New York. Unique.
Yeah. You do a podcast and by the time that I get a podcast out and you guys see it, I've already seen every inch of it 5 times.
Yeah.
And I'm irritated with myself. I cannot understand why anybody would want to watch me talk. And,
I don't understand it either.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing me once, I know.
No, in an arena, it sounds like something like it's Russian or Ukrainian or something.
Or Anagata-Davida.
Anagata-Davida. In an arena, we give you liquor bucks.
So when we do these podcasts, do you watch it back, Travis?
No, I don't. I stopped watching them.
Yeah,
I stopped watching them.
Why?
Because I mean, for the most part, all I do is go, "Oh yeah, I remember that," and also I think to myself, "Jesus, I sound like a dick ass."
Oh.
In fact, I just said dick ass, and I'm going to listen to that and be like, "Oh man, you should not have said that word, you dumbass."
Yeah.
Yeah. But
so that's why you don't watch it?
That's why I don't watch it.
Well, I have to.
Yeah, that's right. Because you edit.
Yeah, I do all the editing. So by the time you guys see it, I've heard me say, every stupid thing 100 times.
Yeah.
And when I go to watch in an arena, and I say in arena.
Yeah, right.
Because the first thing I said on episode 21 was thanks for tuning in or something like that.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in again.
Thanks for tuning in again. And the podcast. You sound like you're deaf. Yeah, but there was one time when I saw Anna Kournikova in an arena.
Yeah, in an arena.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
No, in an arena.
Anagata-Davida in an arena.
Yeah. So
is this that sidetrack you kept?
Yeah, this is what happens.
This is how it goes, Neil. This is how it goes.
We just hope that the listeners at home or wherever they listen to this at have an ample amount of marijuana on hand.
Yeah. They're either really high, really forgiving, don't give a shit, have lots of time to waste.
Yeah, because at the end of the podcast, they usually are going, "Man, that was a powerful message."
Yeah, no. They're
My
thinking
life
to themselves.
What did they say?
Now I need a burrito.
No, that's 78 minutes I will never get back.
Yeah.
That is what they're thinking.
So take me down the road here. I want to know, you jump into the RV, which, most bands don't even have that.
Yeah, we're fortunate.
You get local bands that think that, well, we're going to go on the road. Well, what are you going to go on the road in? Your 4 minivans? Because you watch bands come to set up at shows sometimes, and it's a mommy missile, and somebody has a pickup truck, hopefully for the drums, and then.
Did you say mommy missile?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? I've never heard that before.
Weird sex toy or something?
Grocery getter. That's what I call it,
Yeah.
Mommy missile. Isn't that a turkey baster in a lesbian relationship? I don't know.
Oh, it's bust my balls, isn't it?
It is,
It's
man.
bust my balls.
It's
Bust Brian's balls day because Jeff's not here.
Yeah, it's right. That's right. We're missing Jeff.
Yeah.
Here's to Jeff, man.
Jeff is coaching baseball. And he's got that stuff going on. And it is a Wednesday. We're doing this special show because Rockstar over here couldn't make it any other day except for Wednesday.
No, I think that was me.
I
think I was the rock star. I was the rock star.
Because I work 24 hours every day.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. He keeps stand-up comedian hours. He just
absolutely
awake all night.
When he walked up, I could have swore he just said his first word of the day. He was like,
right.
I was like, "Did you just wake up?" It's like, no,
man.
I've been cooking today.
Exactly. I've been cooking.
Okay, so you get an RV. I mean, how did this all come about? You start out as this band, you're playing, you're starting to get a little shit going, and then you decide, okay, we're going on the road. Now we're gonna have to buy an RV. Right there, my career would be over because I'd be like, well, nobody's anteing up for an RV, so we're done.
So how did you get an RV?
How do you get an RV?
Yeah.
We just we saved up for a while. I mean, we got with the first one because I mean, you can get them pretty cheap.
Can you?
Oh yeah. I mean, in terms of like if it's comes down between buying an RV and buying a decent like van, you can get them relatively the same price used.
How many times does it break down?
This one surprisingly none yet.
Yeah, right. Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, does it look like the Winnebago from fucking Spaceballs? I mean, what does it look like?
Just a tad newer.
It's just a bit newer. Does it look like the, like Stripes,
You know, I kind of pay attention on Facebook when you guys post a picture of the RV on the side of the road, busted, and
that was our last one. That was a weekly thing.
Usually Cushman's working on it for you guys while your lazy asses are cooking out. Yeah. I can see the picture. You guys got a grill out and you're cooking, and fucking Cush is under the fucking RV wrenching on something.
Looking angry.
I might have saw the wrong picture. I don't know.
Yeah. Cush and Dex are our mechanics in the band. For sure.
Okay. Cool. Great drummer too, and great guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Great guy. That's, I haven't met everybody in 3 Years Hollow. I mean, I've met them, but I haven't sat down and had long conversations with like Dex.
Oh, yeah.
I talked to Cushman quite a bit. I've known him for years. And of course, Tony, I've known a long time. Jose's a new face. There's a huge generation gap between me and Jose, just because I could say Wanted Dead or Alive, and he wouldn't know what band sang that.
He also grew up on a different like style of music too, so
we have hardly anything to talk about. Yeah. But he's a great kid. If we want to talk about his music, we could talk about that all day. But if I talk about my times, I'm talking gibberish to him.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I think I was on my tricycle.
Yeah, right. I mean, maybe it is gibberish. There is a possibility.
Well,
no, he's the youngest one in the band.
Yeah,
I think he's 30 now.
I mean, for the listeners out there,
I didn't know that.
We're talking about. I asked Jose, who's the singer of 3 Years Hollow. Have you ever heard of? I just started quizzing him. You ever heard of Dokken? Nope. Really? See, now that's the extent of the gap. He's never even heard of Dokken.
But I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if that's so much generational gap as it is. He grew up on listening to different kind of stuff, like different kinds of rock, and like he was on the pop side of things. And just like me, I mean, I grew up listening. I was in the pop punk, and I think I grew up on like straight up pop music at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of worked my way into the rock and
don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Jose. It's just when we have that conversation, I go, well, we can musically not talk about anything now because
it's two dudes going it alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Although that's how I knew you, man. I knew you more from like the post Blink 182 kind of pop punk, and Newfound Glory, Bowling for Soup, like all of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I mean, so when I heard that you were doing something that was, more like hard rock and heavier, I was like, wow, I did not see that coming.
It was different. I didn't either.
Yeah. But it was within your scope of what you could do, so.
Yeah, I'd pretty much hung up my towel. I got depressed after my first band broke up and sold most of my rig. Held onto the guitars because I'm a pack rat like that. But, and then 4 years later of not being in a band, Jose called me up and he's like, we're going to be in search of another guitarist. Would you be interested in auditioning? And
now, how did he know you?
I miss music. We went to high school together.
Okay, so from Geneseo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, but let me get back to the getting on the RV. So you're going on your tour. Explain to me the lifestyle that you lead for the next 2 months or however long the tour is that you have. Explain like a day in the life of or something.
Well,
for us wannabe guys.
Yes, juicy details.
What's the real deal? Come on.
Not as exciting as you think.
Yeah.
It's everybody's misconception. Like everybody thinks it's all party all the time. And it's like a lot of times we can't afford to get food. Like dollar menu, we're like, is there anything cheaper?
Yeah. You need like a 50-cent menu. You need
Can I just smell the fries?
Yeah, right.
How much did this smell it?
How about I give you 20 cents?
Yeah.
How about for 25 cents? You just let me run by it real quick.
Y'all got change for 100. Get the fuck out of here. But I mean, that kind of is part of my question, and I'm interested to know, what was your single greatest preconceived notion that has been destroyed by being in having the experience that you're having now?
Well, the thing is, you're never like you don't ever go from playing like one show a week or one show a month to just on a 2-month, 3-month tour. You kind of work your way up, and as you go up, you start learning these things little by little. That it's not everything that you thought it was back before you had this opportunity. And there's not really, I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, so the question is, what idea that you had that you maybe even felt pretty sure about just ended up getting just dashed on the rocks of reality, as you started getting out on the road and started really actually doing it?
Oh, let's see.
Was there
We're
a big
assuming
one?
that happened too.
You could.
He's like, well, I don't know.
No, but I mean, you could be. That's a legitimate answer too. There wasn't one, Travis. This is just shit you're making up.
No,
but,
I mean, you don't foresee like with our old RV or vans or whatever you're in. You don't see that. You don't think about them breaking down weekly, like the issues you have sometimes even getting to the shows. And then you get there, you play the show, you think you're going to be rocking like 200 people's faces off, and there ends up being like 8 people in the crowd. Like, we have those shows. We have great shows too, but every once in a while you've got those small shows that is just, it's a little disappointing, but you put on the same show anyways because that's 6-8 people that are going to bring more people next time you come back.
Sure.
And then afterwards, you just think you're going to party, get drunk, drink, and you're like, wait, I should probably save that $5 for food tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really more like just like straight up survival out there.
Yeah. At this point,
it's like survival out there.
How long is it until because we spoke outside of Rascals. I mean, a lot of this conversation we had.
Oh yeah.
When it just in passing. Mm-hmm. And that's why you were like, I want to come on your show. We'll talk about these things.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that too, by the way, that you want to be a part of Minor Disturbance Radio.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. You were telling me about how the first week is absolutely hell, just because you start to miss your family quick. I mean, after you said, or maybe it was after 1 week.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that make the first week or two the worst. I mean, obviously, we're going to be home at the end of this break, it'll be about 2.5 months. Then we're going out again. So, I mean, this is 2.5 months I've been able to spend every day with my kids, my friends, family, everything that I don't get to see on the road. And 2.5 months is enough time to get comfortable with it and like, this is my life now. And then you interrupt it again and you're gone. And the first week, you realize you don't see anybody except the same 4 or 5 guys. And that's hard. That's really hard. And also, when you first go back out, your vocal cords, I'll lose my voice probably somewhere in that first week or two because you're not used to doing it every night like you were. And then after that, you'll lose your voice. Then it'll come back and you'll be good the rest of the tour. And then obviously you're always going to miss your family and kids and friends and everything. But it gets a little bit easier as time goes along of being away. And obviously we got telephones and FaceTime nowadays. So it makes it a little bit easier. It's no substitute for the real thing, but...
Yeah, when you got here, my daughter was still up and I got to, look her in the eyes and say, I love you. Yeah. Good night. And love you too, Daddy, and that. And the older I get, there's no replacement for that.
Absolutely not.
Unless there's a whole lot of money involved.
Yeah, right.
I mean, right off the bat. See, the jump that you're taking right now is kind of still without a net, fucking seat of your pants. You can't get these years back.
Nope.
So it has to go. If it, you have to get to the point where this retires your ass. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of time.
And if it does, you're going to retire early.
Yeah.
And you'll have more money you know what to do with.
And that's what this business is all about, though. It's all a high wire act. I mean, I mean, there's 20 something years of my life that I've went after this type of thing and ended up where I'm at now. And that's without a net, flat on the concrete, bleeding from the head.
Right, exactly.
Everybody pointing and laughing, So, it's a scary ride and it takes a long time. And if I look back, I wouldn't trade it for anything. The going after because I've lived a lot of experiences that I know you can't pay for them. The experience that you're going through right now is priceless. But to me, so is being a normal Joe.
Kids,
nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is I admire what you guys are all doing, and there has to be something in the back of your head where you're like, man, that's why you put all your cards in or all your chips in because you guys are really going for it instead of just him hawing around and hoping it happens for you. You're doing it yourself.
Yes. Sure. And I'm doing this for my kids. Like, because if everything pans out at the end of the day, at the end of the career, whether it's 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 50 years, that won't happen. There's no more bands that stick around that long. But I'll be able to pay for my kids' college. anything they need without spoiling them too much will be easily, readily available. And
I gotta say, when I heard Chemical Ride and I knew that was going to be released on this one, because when I talked to Tony, I talked about this too. When you guys picked your first single, remember, I was telling him, dude, it's a mistake, dude. Chemical Ride is a single. That's the single. And he's like, there's some stuff that is involved business-wise in that, and you didn't really have a big hand in picking your single. The record company decides what they're doing with stuff, right?
That was at the very beginning, and now we've worked our way up. We do have a little more say. Okay. And I think For Life was most of our choices for the next one coming out here in the next month or two.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. Because that's the first thing that happens is the artist gets stripped of all of their input. You know what I mean?
Right.
Am I right? I mean, for major label stuff, I mean, that's what I've heard.
At least, I would imagine, at least at the beginning, because unless they begin, unless they have some reason to regard your opinion about the affairs of their business, that's a tough decision for them to make, to go ahead and hand over the reins to some, FNG, fucking new guy that's going to come in here and try to tell you how to run things. Now, mate, that doesn't mean they don't have legitimate good ideas or anything. It just means it's hard for them to regard them as legitimate,
It's just like any relationship. We were kind of talking about that relationships earlier. You have to build the trust and everything, and we finally, I think, passed that hurdle.
Good.
So,
well, that's marvelous. And, I think that, you mentioned the loneliness of it, and, I think that is probably the overlooked kind of factor about going out on the road that people don't really think about or appreciate, is that, you can be surrounded by people, but if they're all there, even if you are surrounded by people and they're all there under the guise of, fandom, it's hard to trust them to let them in and be close with any of them, because they have ulterior motives. You can't get close with them. You're surrounded by people, but you're alone. And that sucks.
I was completely brainwashed by watching all the 80s videos where they showed the bands on tours.
Right.
A specific scene of John Bon Jovi peering out the jet window.
Yeah.
Or whatever, all sweat, like, oh man, we got another show in New York now, and they're flying private jet. You can see, I don't know if it's in Dead or Alive or something, where it's showing him, and he's like, it seems like he's just deep in thought, like, oh, I'm so lonely.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I want to be that guy. I want to be on the jet flying to the next town, like, another show.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. There's something about it. And then you see the Home Sweet Home video, and it's all in slow-mo with a girl flashing her boobs and stuff. Like, it's all sad that girls show you their titties when it's like,
terrible situation.
Hard life, man.
More stuff that typically doesn't happen on the road.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It was all this brainwash thing of that's what you thought life was. Being in a band and being on the road. You know what I'm talking about with the music videos?
I do, but I also know that this particular broadcast right here that we're doing fucks all of that up. It fucks all of that up.
Well, that's what I mean. I didn't want to get too negative about it. It's not like we're like, tell us how bad it sucks, because we want you to tell us it sucks so that we don't feel so bad that we didn't make it.
But I want the human element of it, though. I want the human element of it.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm trying to say is, don't think that we're here just trying to make us feel better by the shortcomings of what it actually is. And if anything, I'm trying to show the bands that are trying to come up into this area that a record deal don't mean shit.
No.
And,
at least not as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, right. You're doing the same thing. You just got people behind you.
It's very, very rare for a band to jump off from, like I said the last episode, you don't go from the Rusty Nail to Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, right.
That
shit don't happen.
It's not going to happen that way.
Yeah.
So, but man, I wanted to get to some jams off the cracks so that I can get hit with a copyright infringement. We don't care.
What, the cracks?
I'm tired of it, yeah. If I play copywritten material, which you guys are because you're bigwigs now, they'll hit me with a copyright thing, and then they'll put an ad of your record right next to the video if you're watching it on YouTube.
Oh, that's not awful then.
Yeah, so you could buy the record right next to the YouTube video. So check this track out. This is called Fallen. This is my jams.
All right.
I've
That was Fallen from 3 Years Hollow, and that was a badass. That's my jam. As you guys heard, that's one of the baddest riffs ever, I think.
It's fun.
Maybe not ever. There's a couple Maiden riffs that...
Yeah.
You said Maiden? Who's that? Never.
Yeah, me neither.
Put them in the Iron Maiden.
You know, to get into the mood for the podcast, and I watched one of the Maiden things on VH1, the big concert where they showed them from a different city every show. Oh, fuck. Man, Bruce Dickinson was flat the whole time. But it was still awesome. You know what I mean? How a singer has a vocal part that you're so used to on the record, but they just kind of half sing it and half not sing it, you know? Anyway, but it was still in front of gazillions of people.
Sure. You can't fault him. You know what I mean?
My first concert was disappointing because of that.
I guess if you ask me what metal band would you want to be in? I'd have to say it would be Maiden, just because of the respect factor.
Yeah.
And you could still have a family because there's no chicks there.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so no threat of that.
No jealous wives.
No.
Yeah, because my wife even said, she said, why are you in something like Maiden? Why don't you do something like that?
Yeah, right.
Why are you doing this sleazy 80s shit where all the cougars are going to come out and want to suck your dick?
Well, shit.
Like,
I mean,
not why I'm doing it, honey. I'm doing it because that's all I can sing.
Quit that. Quit those bands. I'll make you sausage every morning.
What is it with quitting your band? I refuse to quit my bands. 41 years old and I'm still out playing music and shit. And sometimes I feel like a loser. When I wake up Sunday morning with eyeliner on, I'm talking to my daughter and she's like, Daddy, you have makeup on.
No, Daddy got punched in the eyes twice.
Dude, you should have seen the old Love by Last days. The old Love by Last when we wore the full eyeshadow and eyeliner and everything.
I used to be like, what's wrong with those people? Meanwhile, I'm shaving my head. Getting the braids going. What the fuck is wrong with those? Dude, those guys wear makeup. That's fucked up.
Yeah. I don't know. What is it with the 80s thing? I mean, everybody kind of scoffs at it and laughs at it just because of the makeup and the hair, But there was some great music that came out then.
Dude, it kept going, dude. Kurt Cobain wore fucking mascara, I mean, you can't.
And a flannel shirt.
And a flannel
shoes.
Shirt. But actually, he was less known for the flannel shirt and more known for the cardigan sweater. I mean, that to me is the iconic image of.
Did I tell you my first reaction to Nirvana, the first time I ever saw them?
Oh, I'd love to hear this.
I'm sitting in my one-room efficiency with my high school girlfriend that, our first apartment when we moved out of the house, you got to find a place to do it. Right. So we moved out to do it, and we got this one room. Anyway, we had this console TV on the floor, and I'm sitting. We had the mattress probably about 4 feet away from the TV because it's a one room efficiency.
Exactly.
That's how we rolled.
Exactly.
Big time. And so I'm sitting like off the mat. She's sleeping. I'm watching TV, and now the premiere of this new band, Nirvana, and and I was listening. I was like, man, and it kicked in. I was like,
the drums, dude,
fucking cool.
Well, you hear those drums, and you're like, what?
And then
just happened?
Yeah, and then I saw them. And this is how naive I was. I looked at him and I went, oh, them poor kids can't afford stage clothes, man. I swear to God, it wasn't something I was being funny about in my head. I was like, and I actually thought, I'm going to get MTV's number. I'm going to call them. And I'm going to ask them if that band needs help, if they need a lead guitar player. That stuff ain't bad. They need a lead guitar player. When he went into the solo, I was like, oh, damn, he can't play solos either.
Darn.
What they need is some leather pants and a lead guitar player.
Right. But of course, you were looking at the screen going, man, he's not lip syncing that solo real well either. He's all tuning the keys around and tapping and shit.
He can't figure out how to use that thing. So I initially felt bad and thought that, I could help them out.
Right.
I know some arpeggios and stuff.
They could go somewhere.
I got an extra pair of vinyl pants. This could be a good band.
All shined up.
Yeah, and then a month later, it's double platinum.
Right.
And my life is over.
Yes. Your bands are dead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything with the word steel or lion or a color, white.
White, yeah.
Anything like that, it was gone, dead.
Everything's gone.
Fuck you.
Yep.
Next.
That was it, man.
Yeah.
That was
you
kind
watched
of the
it
moment.
happen. Because you think that era is going to last forever.
Of course
because you're naive and you haven't been alive long enough to know that, that's just
to
a
see
trend.
The changes.
Yeah.
And you've seen 4 or 5 different changes in the climate. And I had only known, I was listening to Kiss when I was 7, and that was kind of tied in with hair metal in a way, showy metal, dress up glamour metal, I guess is what you'd call it.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then it went all the way in through until Nirvana hit, and that was a heartbreaking thing for guys like me
But it's kind of
when grunge took over the world.
yeah, pretty much. Although it's kind of a weird moment in the history of rock because of the fact that everybody's using so many different media outlets. Yeah, I think it's kind of difficult for anybody to really establish an era of any specific genre of like radio rock or whatever. I mean, things just really kind of all over the place, to where it's difficult to determine what era we're in. Some bands seem to be retro to so many different vibes that you just don't even know, how does this make any sense? Like, I keep hearing on the radio on the way home when I'm listening, which isn't all the time, but I mean, I listen a little bit here and there. I keep hearing songs from Volbeat, and I can't decide who they're ripping off. I mean, like,
oh no, don't get me started, man.
No, but I think the lead singer, I think the vocals of Volbeat are a simultaneous ripoff of James Hetfield from Metallica and Colin Hay from Men at Work.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, man. Like, if you listen to like his vibrato and like how he works stuff, it's got this almost kind of like weird Australian vibe to it, but then he's doing all the whoa, wah, and the all that kind of shit as he does it, and it's kind of wild, man.
The slight Elvis twist.
The slight Elvis, the
agree.
Elvisness,
Yeah.
Elvishness,
Elvish.
something like that.
And there's people that just love that band, like Terry Hodges from Drop Hammer, my drummer, just won't shut up about Volbeat.
I love them.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've got some good shit. Don't get me wrong, they've got some good shit, but there's something about the way that guy's singing that drives me up a wall.
Yeah, okay.
It's definitely different.
It's definitely different. I mean, he's putting things together. I mean, at this point, how can we deny that none of us are reinventing the wheel here? That what we're doing literally with our instruments, with our voices, with our production, with our songwriting is on some level the equivalent of 2 turntables and a microphone. You know what I mean? It's the equivalent of pulling in all of our influences and just remixing them in try to make some fresh direction.
I got it.
All right.
Let me. This is my time to like shine the light on me.
All right.
Because I'm going to stroke my own ego for a second.
Okay, don't come on my face.
Throughout all of the crap that I've written in my life, that's been whatever people thought of it, there's a couple things that I've said in a couple songs that have stayed true, and I can hear them now and go, God damn, that sounded like somebody that knew what they were talking about for a second.
I can't believe it was me.
Where did he go?
Did I say that? Yeah. I said that?
No, I have those moments for sure.
And the line was in the song Drop Hammer, the actual song Drop Hammer, because when I wrote that song, it was about the trends changing and how we were dead.
Right.
And how the media always looked at us as gone and, not letting them keep us pinned up against the wall kind of thing. We're coming back. We're Drop Hammer. We're going to bring it down. I know it's stupid, but there's a line in that song. And it says, it comes around full circle. It never dies. It's just another long lost trend wearing a brand new disguise.
Right.
And, when I
that is cool.
Listen to that back, I'm like, damn. I should tattoo that on me somewhere.
That's some profound shit I just said there.
And I'm pretty sure I was just looking for words that rhymed.
Rise.
Let's see.
Rise. Disguise.
Had the rhyming dictionary out.
Rise.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Because when the whole 90s thing happened, that was reminiscent of what culture is it? The hippie culture, like the 60s or whatever. It was kind of like that kind of thing coming back.
Kinda. I mean, I think, as being a person who was kind of a bit old to be part of that movement, because obviously since you and I related on the level of, guitar shredness, for us, our era of music was, this it's Matt Finn. I don't know. Should we answer it?
Sure. Let's
just answer it.
I
can hold my point. I can hold my point.
Hello? Hello?
Hey, what's up?
Oh, not much, man. We're just sitting here recording a Minor Disturbance radio episode, and we're actually taking calls from listeners. What do you got to say for yourself, Matt Finn?
I'm a Libra. I like vagina and pizza, and sometimes milk, but it has to be milk like cold, and sometimes chocolate milk too.
Yeah. Hey, Matt.
Travis is here.
Hey, Matt, by chance, have you ever shat in a hammock?
No.
Oh, and hey, man, I wasn't calling you a failure earlier on Facebook. This is kind of inside, but...
Oh, I know. Dude, I know that. I was just making a play on it. It's all good. I know that you like the band Failure, and I knew that.
This is probably going to sound awesome.
Inside jokes, inside conversations. Hey, quick, let's have a conversation about fucking Facebook.
Yeah.
Everybody gives a shit.
Yeah. Check this shit out. Are we live on the air?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, check this shit out. This is going to be awesome. This is why I called Brian.
All right.
I just got asked to be the drummer for Scott Strapp from Creed's, like, solo band.
So you're quitting the band?
No! I fucking denied it.
You did?
I'm like, I'm in fucking dive bomb, bitch.
Yeah! Gotta hope that comes through on this. Damn, I would have taken the job, dude.
No.
Oh, fuck that.
Fuck that. I'm with you, dude. Fuck that.
I wonder what happened to Garrett. Garrett was drumming
Leaf
for him.
Garrett?
No,
he got a heroin problem.
Right, Garrett's popcorn. It just was too greasy.
So, man,
Well,
that's awesome, dude. What's
it
up?
wasn't an actual. Well, I don't want to take away from the story I just gave you, but it wasn't actually. Well, it was somebody I know. It was Jacob from Mars Electric.
Mars Electric?
He had someone call him and ask for a drummer for that, and he called me, and I'm like, fuck no.
Dude, Matt, I need to meet you someday, man. You're my kind of dude.
You're going to have to come back on the show, Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
Right now, we got Neil Koffee Kuhlman on the show right now from 3 Years Hollow, so.
Who? Chewbacca?
Yeah.
Say something, Chewy.
All right. So
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
I know you can't hear us. I'm sorry, man. Yeah. So this was a good idea to take a call in the middle of a episode.
Bad idea. Bad idea, Jeans.
Yeah. So hey, man, that's good news and I guess bad news. You sound a little drunk. Are you drowning in your sorrows?
Oh, it was golf night.
That's a yes.
Is that
All right.
Is that also known as getting hammered and driving around little electric cars?
Yeah, he probably can't hear a word you're saying.
No, it's all good.
No, I heard it. Hey, Travis, how you doing driving?
No, yeah, right. Exactly. I'm doing awesome fucking driving.
How did he know I was driving, though?
I don't know. I just guessed, man. I figured you'd be that take charge kind of dude, that would just want to get out there and, mow down some bent grass with your fucking...
I think you're related to Dionne Warwick and you have ESP.
That's what it is. No, Miss Cleo. Miss Cleo.
Oh.
We've been hijacked. Minor Disturbance has been hijacked by Matt Finn.
Take her easy, Matt Finn.
Hey, buddy. We'll talk.
It's the only way I can get on the show is hijacking.
All right, you'll be on soon, Matt. We'll have to get all the guys in Dive Bomb on soon, I think.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I was just, I didn't know you actually had a show, and I apologize for the interruption.
Oh, you're not interrupting nothing, man.
But I just thought you'd get a little amusement out of that.
That's awesome. I'll be sitting here thinking about how you're going to change your mind later, probably, and I'm going to have to find a new drummer, but... Nah. When the
bass player got kicked out of Creed, he offered me a job way back. This was probably like, I don't know, 2000, maybe 99, 2000. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't get my numbers to correlate and get in line through, a couple year period there. But anyway, he sent me, I'm like, yeah, send me the stuff right here, I'm like, if I fucking sounded just like Creed, I'm like, that is exactly what the world doesn't need is another fucking Creed.
Oh, man. Matt, you're going to have to come on the show and talking to some microphones and say that shit because I don't know if this is coming through or not. So,
well,
I hope it is.
I hope it is too because I will say it again.
I'll never say it again.
All right, brother. Well,
okay.
Just about to promote our show on July 12th up at Rascals, so.
Okay, tell some pussy and fart jokes then.
Yep.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Take her easy, Matt.
Okay.
We love you, man.
Love you too, man.
All right, later.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, all right.
That was
Matt fucking Finn.
So I guess we're taking
coming in
calls
here.
now.
Yeah.
I tell everybody before we do the show, shut your fucking phones off.
Right.
Don't be taking no calls in the middle of this shit.
But when it's kind of like when any one of us that we know who we know is going to be like a fucking character, you know what I mean? You can't deny it. You just have to roll with it and just let it in. Otherwise, you're just missing opportunities, man.
Yeah.
When Matt Finn calls up, you just got to go with the opportunities because he's going to say some fucking outlandish shit.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Yeah, Matt's great.
That's one thing about the band that I'm in right now. Nothing against any other band I've ever been in. But the format that we're doing with the stupid 80s covers and that, and the no pressure, just kind of go out and do what we do. And all the guys in the band are just easy to get along with. Nobody ever shows up pissed.
Right.
Might be tired a little bit, but there's no drama between the guys. And it's so hard to keep that out of bands.
I say I'd be pissed showing up with a 60-inch bass drum.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
So anyway, I can't even remember what it was I was talking about, but
well, thanks, Matt, for calling in and fucking the whole show up.
Fucking show up. No, yeah, I think it was. We were kind of talking about Nirvana.
The grunge.
We were talking about the
whole
grunge
change.
We were talking about the whole change between things. So I was really kind of an older member of the Nirvana adopters. I, by some miracle coincidence, ended up getting the album Bleach in my hands and loving that album before Nevermind came out.
And took over the world.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, for me, I just thought they were just my favorite band that nobody knew about. You know what I mean? And so then this album comes out and they end up being the biggest band in the world. And, it was really fucking crazy. But, so it was from the guitar perspective, it was really kind of my first inkling that maybe where I was coming from musically wasn't the whole guitar shred thing, that maybe my musicality was coming from someplace else, because it was more closely what it was that I loved about Nirvana was something that I loved more deeply than guitar solos. I liked the way that the songs worked, and I liked the way that the vocal melody was, and it didn't matter that the songs were kind of simple in a way or that he repeated himself. None of that mattered. It was just it just made more sense to me, and it affected me more like when I like in the way that things did when I was really, really little and I first started putting the needle on the record and listening to one part of the song over and over again because that part was just fucking hypnotic or amazing or whatever, That was what Nirvana was like for me, They were the ones who woke me up out of my guitar shred stupor.
Well, the problem is when you speak like that, it makes me think that you're thinking 100% shred metal or folk song Nirvana shit. And there's a gap there, though, because for a while there, the shredding part of it was kind of the icing on the cake. After a while, it became the cake. It was everything. There had to be a super high scream note, and there had to be like 14 arpeggio solos in the song.
Right.
And at that point, they took the two elements that seemed to be selling records, and they just overdid all that stuff.
Well, don't get me wrong, man. I mean, when Wanted Man came out from Rat, I was all about it, dude.
That's the real deal right there.
Yeah, that was the real shit, but that didn't last that long. Everything after that was just people trying to, for economic reasons, simulate something that had already happened.
That's what I mean. It's the people getting their hands in the business. That's record labels. I guarantee that's record labels and people saying, okay, if this worked for them, let's do it 10 times fold.
Sure, right.
And then if that worked for them, it's some dude that doesn't know what's going on.
No.
I remember Metallica talking about when they got signed, they wanted them to poof their hair up and do all this shit. And if you watch the first Guns N' Roses Welcome to the Jungle video, Axl Rose had teased out hair, and they were making him look kind of as 80s as they could get him. And then pretty soon you saw him with bandana aviators, didn't care about that. It's slimy looking, and they just kind of let go of that whole
go of it. Right.
80s thing. And
but it also kind of harkens to the whole thing with, we're going to make our next album even heavier. You know what I mean? Like, you start trying to intensify something, it gets pretentious, man. The word that I, sort of look to is the word contrived, where you can sense the construction of it. You know what I mean? Oh, they put things this way in order to try to make me have this experience. And I can feel the deliberateness of that. And that actually distracts from the raw impression.
Do you think that there's any of that in your music?
What's that?
Because
like
obviously
contrivance,
that word that he just said, I don't know what it
you
is.
don't know that word.
Yeah, I get a brain cramp too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
3 years out. I mean, just put it on the table. I mean, obviously you fit into a market genre or whatever, something that's marketable now. And that style of music has been marketable for a while. Do you feel like you're kind of on the tail end of that, or do you think that that's something that's going to last for another?
Honestly, I think nowadays it's actually starting to pick up again. I felt a lull in it like the past 6 years, and it's like it's starting to work its way back up. So I hope that we got back in on it at like the right time to where it's going to get a little bit more popular. But if it doesn't, it's all about the music anyways. So you're doing what you want to play.
Well, I remember when like the 3 Days Grace and the Breaking Benjamin stuff was coming out.
Sure.
Again, that was
Trapped.
another switch that was happening in the music, and it was getting a whole nother level away from the shit that I was like watching die.
Right.
And I was listening to that. And I was like, God, some of this is really hard hitting, and you can't deny the powerful guitar and percussive sound of the music. And the vocals to me were something that was so out of my league to be able to do that I just alienated myself from it out of pure jealousy of it, just because I knew I was outdated. It was over.
Yeah,
that music.
right.
There's no way that at that time, a Dangerous Toy song would have a chance against something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Or and I use that band as an example only because I like that type of stuff. Any 80s stuff that I dug was getting smashed by this new stuff, and you were pointed at and laughed, ha ha ha, if you had like a Rat shirt on.
But
that was so uncool. When I was doing the Drop Hammer thing, we were the absolutely most uncool thing that you could possibly be doing. And it's kind of been the trend of my life because as radio is being lowered into the ground, I started a radio show.
Right. So. But you know what though? McMaster, the McMaster interview, if any of you Minor Disturbance Radio listeners or subscribers or anybody listening to this would go back and listen to what McMaster says about the subject, McMaster knows that Dangerous Toys was without a doubt, unequivocally, and absolutely put there by the machine.
Yeah.
Like when you said, oh man, when you were talking about, the
he's talking about Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys,
the lead singer of Dangerous Toys and the lead singer of Watchtower, which is, I think, a more important band.
That's his flagship band.
That's his real band.
Yeah, anyway.
But anyway, when you were talking about like you were like, yeah, man, I mean, how did you even come up with that? McMaster's response tells the whole story, because what he said was, I think what it sounded like to them was sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na knees.
Right.
And that was the ticket, my friend.
They wanted him to be Axl Rose.
They wanted something that was going to serve the machine. They wanted something that was going to serve the machine into the next phase until it died. They were going to run it into the ground.
Give you something that's familiar to you.
Absolutely.
In a way.
To ride that wave, man.
And
to ride the wave.
That's where the business part of everything comes in.
Right.
But that's also kind of the point I was trying to make earlier, is that at this point, because everything is just so broken apart, with radio starting to kind of die and like all these feed media, you program it yourself type services, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and, this kind of stuff, that it's getting really difficult to determine where the genres are and what things are really on the rise and what things are really on the fall. I think for most of us at this point, it just all comes down to one song. One song. We hear one song and we think, ooh, I like that. And then we try to look for other stuff like that, and nothing comes close, and things suck for a while until the next one song comes in. But the way it works is everybody's looking for that song. It's like a piece of bubblegum, not like bubblegum pop, like, oh, this is so sweet. I mean, more in the sense of we chew it up. We chew it up until it loses its flavor and we spit it out.
There you go. That's perfect. That's perfect.
You know what I mean?
That's singles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's still some people chewing on a big wad of AC/DC.
Hey, I'm one of them, dude. I'm fucking
teeth squeaking against the gum.
Well after the flavor's gone.
I sit and let that shit absorb in my mouth until when you chew it, it just turns into nothing.
God damn. Nothing against AC/DC, but can we fucking let it go, man?
I don't know, dude. Malcolm Young had a stroke, can't fucking play guitar or speak anymore, but they're still like, we're making an album.
Listen to me talk, though. I'm a Kiss fan.
We're making an album.
But
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But I've let that go. I don't sit around and listen to... Well, I do. I sit down and listen to Kiss sometimes.
Actually, Brian has already purchased the Kiss coffin to be buried in. Because I'm not bullshit, man. He seriously
I bought the Kiss
coffin.
headphones.
Yeah, right.
Be pyro coming out at the
Totally,
visitation.
dude. sets rungies on fire.
Yeah.
Fucking-
I think that price for that coffin should include Paul Stanley reading the eulogy.
I think you're right, man.
You know what I mean?
I think so.
That just proves to me that they get you from, because they have Kiss baby toys and shit.
Cradle to grave.
You cradle to grave, baby.
Yep. Cradle
There's some marketer in there
Cradle
that's
to fucking grave,
The
man.
Catching Fire wouldn't be the Kiss one. That'd be the Great White
That
coffin.
would be. Oh, see, I made that joke last time, and he fucking edited my ass out.
I took it out.
You edited my ass out, man.
And I feel bad for that because we talked about how, when you pull the trigger, you pull the trigger.
You do, man.
And we got to be real here. And
That's right.
That's, I think, why we have a listenership. The listenership that we do is because we're being honest.
Yeah.
We're making more fun of ourselves than anything. And
we suck. We suck. We suck.
And I guess, I feel like I'm going to offend people if we make a joke about the people that were killed in the fire for the
it's definitely
Great White
not,
thing.
It's definitely not a good situation, man.
Yeah.
It was definitely an ugly.
I don't think anybody would make
thing.
fun of that part. Like,
No.
Yeah, but I think
it was never intended.
I think that it's been long enough now that finding humor in anything is kind of healing anyway.
I agree with that.
So, I mean, if it can be something that you can, obviously the situation that happened isn't cool, but if we can sit and kind of make jokes about it, that kind of makes it better.
That's what I mean.
Right?
I can forgive Jack Russell to in some way being a party to the deaths of 90 plus people, and I can forgive him for being named after a breed of dog.
No, wait. That's funny. I like the dog park, but I want to ask you, when you said that, so you actually feel that Jack Russell had some sort of involvement in the deaths of the people there?
I think that it's pretty obvious that he had involvement in it. Now, whether or not his involvement was what, really precipitated the event is a different story entirely. But the man was there. The fireworks that were being shot off were done as part of the show that he was part of. What his involvement with it actually is, as far as, how it was set up, is sort of vague and difficult to understand. But we know that he was there, and we know that fireworks were being shot off somehow in his honor. That's what we know.
I completely disagree with you as far as him having any kind of involvement in it.
No, I think he does not.
That situation was going to happen because people were running rampant with subpar technicians running pyro. I know I was in a band that was doing it. Drop Hammer used to light off pyro all the time, and we made them at our house out of pipes.
Right.
And gunpowder and fucking short circuits. You know what I mean? That we had a switch box that we made out of a Tupperware tub that we put switches on to all right, we're going to light whatever ones this one's hooked up to. Boom. And some of them had extra gunpowder and tape over. They're pipe bombs.
I'm with you.
And we did that all the time. And then that happened.
Yeah.
And I guarantee the band that played the weekend before them did pyro also.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
And it just happened that this one was the one that went.
It was the type of pyro that they did in that low ceiling, man. I remember seeing the video, and it was just sparks shooting up into the ceiling and hitting the ceiling over and over again.
But nobody thinks that the club's going to burn down in
of course
a minute.
Not. Of
you know
course
what I mean?
not. If the question was involved, I think the answer is yes. If the question is he culpable or responsible, the question is no.
Well, obviously he's involved by being in the band that was playing that night. Yeah. But then so are the people that were in the audience.
Totally,
then. They were
absolutely.
involved too.
Yeah. Dude, they showed up for a Great White show, dumbasses.
And how would you like to be that guy up in heaven, or if there is a heaven? I'm not saying there isn't one, but if there is one, you're like, how'd you go?
No.
Great White concert, man.
Yeah, you fucking dumbass, man.
Oh, yeah. I went from a drug overdose at a Led Zeppelin concert.
Right.
Way cooler.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So, Yeah, it's a sad thing.
It is a sad situation. I agree with your point about finding humor in it as a way to kind of deal with it.
But getting back, I appreciate that.
But it is lame. But it is lame.
But that's what he said on the last episode. I edited that part out just because I didn't want you to watch it later and go, man, it didn't come across right.
I still
Seeming
haven't.
cold or anything.
No, and honestly, I felt like I was holding back. I mean, I have a way worse punchline to all of that stuff that I could tell.
Do.
But I'm not going to tell it. I mean, I'm not going to tell it. It's not the right forum. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's being a fucking asshole, and then there's being a serious fucking asshole.
Right.
And, I felt like I avoided going to the next level of assholery.
Yeah.
If assholery is a word.
Assholery.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
Right. And by the way, one thing that Greg Dwyer told me that I should do in the shows is every once in a while reintroduce who's on the show.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I never did. I just put the overlays of our names.
Right.
There real quick. But
Right. Who are we talking to?
Yeah. Minor Disturbance Radio episode 21. And we're still here with... No, that's stupid.
No, this
I can't do it that
seems
way.
impotent.
Yeah,
This seems
I
impotent, man.
can't do it that
was
way.
a big limp dick right there, man.
That's when you're live and people are tuning in halfway through the episode.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Trust
right.
me, if I was really on the radio, I wouldn't be talking like this.
Yeah, that's right.
It probably
It's
wouldn't...
I'm not going to go on and let's watch Minor Disturbance. Let's start in the middle.
Right. We're talking with Neil Koffee Kuhlman about nothing.
Well, in case people skip over the songs, you know what I mean? Because sometimes people I don't like through song. I'm just gonna skip back to the good part where Brian's talking, and they just and it's way too far, and they come in the middle. They don't know.
I would. You have a sexy voice and headphones.
I'm saying.
Do you think?
I'm saying, dude. Especially since you got that SM7, you fucking copycat.
Every time I watch this back, I keep thinking, Brian, change your tone every once in a while. Maybe go up here and do this and this and that and get around a little bit. I wish I'd have said it like this. Been more lively about it.
Right.
The road was really good.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you about the road. but it's the whole what is it? Sunday.
Yeah.
Come on to Cordova Drag Strip to watch them crash and watch them burn. You know what I mean? That's what you end up
You
with.
gotta keep them interested, man.
Exactly.
You steal the show every time you do something like that, Travis. The only comments we'll get is that was a great monster truck promo, man.
Dude.
You'll probably be on the radio with
That's
it.
what
It'll be on the radio.
It'll be.
You're the new dude.
Monster trucks. Come on down to the old John O'Donnell Stadium that's called something completely different now that you don't give a fuck about. It's monster trucks, smashing shit, running over shit, scaring the fuck out of your 3-year-old kids.
I'm actually convinced that is him on the radio. That sounds really good.
It might be.
I'm going, dude. When is that?
I'm telling you, man.
When is that?
It's coming up,
It
man.
was
Modern
Thursday, I think he said.
Woodman. Modern Woodman Park. They're gonna fuck the sod all up. Fucking up the sod
the Ferris wheel.
and the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, and that reminded me of the iWireless, how they have so many different things happening there. They'll have hockey going on. They'll have the hockey rink in there, and then one day they'll have some basketball game or something. They just put the shit, or a concert. They just put the stuff over the ice.
Over the ice.
Right.
I remember being there when it was called the Mark, and people were pulling up the panels to get to the ice.
Oh.
It was a Pantera concert.
Well, that sounds about right.
Leave it to the Pantera fans.
Hey, was that the Pantera concert where the dude spilled the beer all over the board and fucking the show quit and it was a bad deal?
I was too busy in the mosh pit.
Oh.
Or on the perimeter of it. Me and Jerry Freeze and myself.
Jerry Freeze and yourself.
Went to this concert and got cultured really quick because we just we're sitting there, because we're music people and we were listening to the solos and stuff and the tones and the snare sounds and goddamn, and watching the drummer's feet, trying to get close enough to see that, and we kind of get involved in this pit.
Yeah.
And so these people are flying around and, I'm puffing up a little bit trying to get my bird chest out so that they don't fuck with me,
All right.
So and pretty soon somebody comes by floating on top of the crowd, right? And they're kicking, and there's all of a sudden a shoe in my face, and because Jerry and I were laughing because we're like, I really like that lead tone that's happening. And a foot comes in between us, and the only way you can get them away is to twist their ankle.
Yeah, right.
You twist their fucking ankle.
So they recoil
because they're kicking and freaking out and shit. And you grab their foot and you twist it because they'll want to come down then.
Right.
And it worked. And we're like, I really like that lead tone. And he was making fun of me because he was like, you didn't miss a beat. The conversation never changed. You're trying to break this guy's ankle.
Yeah.
I was like, I just thought that's what you're supposed to do. Is fuck each other up.
So what album would that have been? We're talking about Reinventing the Steel, Great Southern Trend Kill.
This would have been right. I think it would have been Far Beyond Driven.
Really? Wow. Because I think I saw them on that tour at Alpine Valley. It was Sepultura was supposed to open, but Max Cavalera was having.
Let me tell you a story about
surgery.
The first time I saw Pantera live, Alpine Valley. You mentioned Alpine Valley.
Yeah.
They were. Let me tell you what the bill was.
Okay.
And then tell me what band was fucked.
Okay, Skid Row.
Oh shit, you blew it for me. Love Hate, Megadeth,
right.
Pantera, and then Skid Row.
Fuck, dude.
And I was watching in the crowd because this was when that transition was happening when Pantera was taking over.
Because Pantera, dude, they were more metal than metal, man.
That whole thing, you could not get a bigger dick than Pantera.
They were the fucking biggest dick on the planet, man.
You know, Skid Row had this little dick, little skinny white dick, and Pantera had this huge thing.
Giant fucking Texas.
I'm just talking about the way it sounded, the way it felt. There was no way that I remember you stood to that at all.
No, and Dave Sabo ain't no fucking punk. I mean, that dude is a good guitar player, no bullshit.
Yeah.
But Dimebag Darrell just had the voice, man. Like his voice on the instrument, just you heard it like sentences, man.
And there was a certain energy and almost like, you know, I think people are attracted to the fact that you have no idea if they're going to make it through the concert without somebody getting shot.
Right.
I shouldn't have said that because
horrible reference.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean anything by that. I didn't feel that in my heart.
But no, you mean somebody in the audience.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, you don't think the fucking band is going to get shot.
Or possibly, you know, Phil Anselmo's just going to throw the mic down and tell everybody, fuck off, I'm going home because I want to.
Right.
You know,
that's Axl Rose move.
Right. And I just remember this happening. I'm sitting there, I'm waiting for Skid Row. I knew that Pantera was awesome. I knew that they were on the bill and I couldn't, you know, wait to see them too. But I watched all the shirts come in that said Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, and they wore that like soldiers.
Oh yeah, dude.
They were there for Pantera and there was a clear divide.
Oh yeah.
As soon as Pantera was done, they turned their backs and were gone. And that crowd, I remember moving up like 15 more rows to see Skid Row. And I was like, uh-oh. Them guys are going to be out in the parking lot waiting for my ass. I got a Skid Row shirt on right now.
Yeah.
You know, it was like being a Redskin at a Dallas game.
Yeah,
in Dallas.
Right. You finna get your ass whooped.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah. But, I mean, Pantera was like a force. I mean, did you ever see them live when they were?
I have never seen them live.
You never saw them live? No. I didn't know if you were in, you know, around that time or not.
Yeah, I could have. I never had the chance to, though.
Yeah. Great live show. I mean, about the only bad part was when Phil Anselmo tried to sing. I mean, they tried to do
tried to sing.
Well, tried to sing because you know, there was a decent amount of singing still on Cowboys from Hell. Mm-hmm. There was almost no singing on Vulgar Display of Power and everything after that. And you know, except for they did Planet Caravan. They had a cover of Planet Caravan from Black Sabbath, and he would come out and try to sing that shit, and it was it was not good.
But I didn't want him to sing.
No, of course
I wanted him to scream at me.
I say it's Pantera.
Yeah,
you don't go for the pretty singing.
No.
But that was another change in the environment, and believe it or not, I believe that 3 Years Hollow, in a way, kind of reaped some of the benefits of that change because that whole hard vocal. Yeah. I mean, you're not screaming. It's not like the Continuance and all that stuff, but it's still his voice is really on the edge of not being a singing voice anymore.
Right. I mean, to me, like in the history of music, it almost has a certain equation to, even though the vibe of it is so completely different, to the sort of singing that guys like John Fogerty or Bob Seger, you know, where what you're listening to is this rasped up version of the singing,
but pushed a little bit harder.
You know what I mean? Like it's meant to be dirty sounding, you know, but it's more controlled. Like the modern thing is like it's more controlled. Like they've really got it down to a science, like where that break is, you know. How to get that break.
I can't do that at all.
Like, no, I can't do it at all either. Man.
I've tried and I end up throwing up. Like I'll try the wrong way or something, but I've got this pretty choir boy voice that I can't escape. So
yeah. Same here, buddy.
So it works for backups.
But for some reason, when I'm singing with something like that, I kind of feel like I sound like them.
I do not.
until like all of a sudden the radio shuts off on accident. And, and you're like, what was coming out of my throat? That's like, it's weird.
Is there a dying cow around here?
Right.
But that just seems to kind of be the trend. I remember for some reason, every time a new band comes out that has a guy that's singing, the last one was Darkness.
Darkness.
When the Darkness came out, everybody's like, Brian, did you hear Darkness yet? Did you hear about Darkness? Like, why? I was like, cause man, they're singing. And I'm like, yeah, but it's too early for that, man. That's too close to that style.
It was tongue in cheek too.
It was too
tongue
funny.
in cheek. Yeah. Yeah, it was tongue in cheek.
People weren't taking them seriously.
I appreciate it for the music because, I mean, they actually were a good band.
I'm not saying they weren't.
I don't know if they're still around or not.
I'm sure they are.
But his range, dude, is ridiculous.
It is.
It's not the same kind of range, though. I mean, like, I felt like...
I shouldn't say range.
But
I don't know how low we can say. I've never heard it.
Right. But I mean, as far as the higher register,
his high register is great.
Right. But I mean, I always felt like listening to The Darkness, like it was really more of a falsetto thing than falsetto. It was, like True Hardball's fucking, Steelheart.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where somebody's actually singing those high notes like more from their chest.
And then before that, it was the Coheed and Cambria.
Yep.
Coheed
People were like,
Cambria.
you heard of Coheed? Why? Yeah. Because there's some weird dude with a fro-looking hairdo that sings. Everybody comes to me about that because they know that's my thing. So, and it just re-solidifies the fact that everybody thinks I sound like Geddy Lee.
Hey, there's worse compliments.
You do sound like Geddy Lee.
You fucking shut up right now. Sebastian Bach is the right answer.
Away from here.
Here's your multiple choice. Brian Miner's vocal sounds like A, Sebastian Bach, B, Sebastian Bach.
Okay.
Or C,
Celine
all
Dion.
of the above.
right. Yeah.
Celine Dion.
Exactly. Let's see. King Diamond.
It's a write-in vote.
Yeah, it's a write-in.
Yeah, how many times do you have to deal with that? You sing too.
I try to sing. I do it badly, though.
But how many times do it seems like when people hear your voice, the first thing that they want to do is file it in their head of what it sounds like to them closest so they can tell you remind me of this guy.
Yep. That's a human trait. I mean, that's the way our brains work.
It is. And it's true. And it's wide open and it's uncensored. People don't know that they're going to hurt your feelings by saying, man, you sound like Geddy Lee. Even though that's the last thing I want to sound like.
Right.
You know what I mean? You want it to sound a little rougher than that. At least I wanted to, you know. And, when you finally get somebody that doesn't say, you sound like Mark Slaughter. Oh, because they're trying to be nice.
They're right.
Because maybe they like Mark Slaughter.
Right.
But I'm thinking, damn, man, I'm never going to get that.
Ouch.
And then finally, in my older age, people are saying, you sing like Sebastian Bach. And maybe it's because I've grabbed them all by the collar and said, the right answer is Sebastian Bach.
Right.
Did the multiple choice question.
Exactly.
And I will never sound like him. It's just a matter of, I've always wanted to attain that ability to kind of have that range of holding notes up there and moving them around and having still some break in it.
It's just hard to feel good about yourself when you have ideas about what great is.
And you're always your own worst critic anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. You add that in there and that makes it just that much worse.
Right. I'm sure that Jose hears his voice back and goes, man, that's what I sound like. But to us, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, right.
To him, it may sound different when he hears it back.
Oh, absolutely.
You remember the first time you heard yourself on your fucking voice thing
Totally.
or on your phone thing? What is that called? A voice
like your answering machine.
Answering machine.
Yeah, he forgot what that was.
How antiquated is that?
Jesus Christ, Brian. He calls it on his fucking pulse dial rotary phone. Your fucking bell trim line.
But how many times do you sit there and okay, hey, this is Brian. I can't get to the phone right now, so leave a message. Hello, this is Brian. No shit.
No.
And then you go, this is Brian. I can't get to the phone right now. And then you play that back and it's like,
be like Barry White.
Yeah, I'm trying to sound badass.
But but don't you do that with your vocals? Like you listen to yourself through a microphone, like coming out of a PA speaker or something, and you're like, hey, you're saying your thing, right? But then you're like, nope.
Cool.
What kind of band are you in?
But then, no, I'm just making this as a hypothetical here. But then later you're like, man, that sucks. So then you're like, hey, you're trying to open your mouth and stick your tongue down and try to open your shit up and put on fucking breathe right strips.
I still have a hard time when I go to check the mic at sound check, even though it's just the sound guy and maybe a couple bartenders.
Oh, you sound like an idiot. I hate doing that stuff.
Check, one. And then people are like, shut up.
Check, one.
Yeah. And for a while, and then it finally opens up, and then they get it right. But, and they're sing at your singing level. Check. I still can't just start singing, in front of people, just me in there, stepping in there
That is the worst thing about shows. Well, besides loading in and out, I hate sound checking. At least the line check with the vocals, because you're right. You sit there for depending on the engineer, anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes of check, 1, 2, hey, check. It's like,
But you got
That's why you get
There's only
some
so
other
much
assholes
things-
to do that. The next level
Yeah,
for you guys
exactly.
is having other buttholes that stand out there and go, check, and they make sure the mic is where your guys are going to be like,
yeah.
he wants it right there.
yeah, right.
Right there, don't move
right, Right. You gotta
Which
fucking
sometimes-
measure that shit. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes our tour manager would go up and do that for us, and that was a godsend.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, you just feel like an idiot.
You're using words like tour manager and just throwing them out there.
No, that's cool.
Fucking all egotistical and shit, like tour manager.
I was gonna say-
you know who my tour manager
That was
is?
after he separated all the green M&Ms out. and-
Right.
Yeah,
right.
my tour manager is my wife.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're not playing that weekend. We got
Yeah,
shit
that's
going
how
on.
that works.
But I'm not fortunate enough to be able to have sex with my tour manager, so
Getting back to the whole singing thing that you guys were talking about, or I was talking about, rather, how, some metal bands, for me, I still dig the fact that they sing. And I'm still waiting for that.
absolutely.
But then people want to turn me on to metal bands that have a singing voice that's just right back to the 80s style again.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be that for me to like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
For example, and the next band that I want to play is one of my favorite, and I'm going to say it is my favorite local band. Get the keyword local.
Local.
Not to get a hurt butt or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're the Underdogs, and it's 1152, and I've been a big fan of these guys.
Oh, I love those guys.
It's just it seems like all the favorite components, like you said, all
Yeah.
the favorite components of what they dug, all thrown into what they dig. And they don't care if it sounds like this or if it does this that you would expect it to do. It's the jams.
I got two words. I got 2 words for you to describe that middle ground, man. Joey Belladonna. Joey Belladonna was the singer for Anthrax throughout the 80s, and nobody could really quite deal with the fact that he was a straight up singer in
Yeah.
a metal band. He wasn't singing super high notes. He wasn't singing super low notes. He was trying to sing cool melodies. And if I were going to categorize kind of what, where the range of Dusty Smith is in that equation, it's Joey Belladonna.
Dusty Smith, obviously, is the singer for 1152.
First time I met Dusty Smith, he came into Music Go Round with Chris Ermey. And if any of you guys know Chris Ermey, the Worm they call him, he has a penchant for walking into pawn shops and music stores and bargaining everybody down on their prices. Well, Dusty Smith tried to come in and bargain me down on a price the very first time I met him, and I basically told him to go fuck himself. Yeah, I was like, if you don't like the price, you don't have to buy the guitar. And he was like, I will never come in here ever again, dude. And Dusty Smith hated me, man. Thought I
Really?
was the worst person in the world. And but we eventually figured out that we were each pretty good dudes. Anyway,
Well,
and we
he was
ended
a
up getting along.
customer and you were an employee.
That's
Your
what the
job
deal
was to
was.
make more money. His job is to not spend as much money.
That's exactly
We're musicians.
right.
So
you met
That's
on the wrong
right.
terms.
We met on the wrong terms. That's exactly right. But
Yeah.
but anyway, you're gonna play some 1152, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm bored with his vocal. He was the singer for my band. He was the singer for Marianas, and I've heard his vocal work, so I'm done with it.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of the way he sings because I can sing along with it in the car and butcher it. But
Well, if he hears this, Dusty Smith, I love you. I miss you.
just for the listeners, it's this really hooky stuff. I like the fact there's a lot of hook in it, and the riffs are insane. So I'm sure that if you listen to MDR, you've heard enough of 1152, but I can't reiterate enough. Check these guys out. Buy their shit. They're the Underdogs right now. Get them up there with 3 Years Hollow. I want to see 1152 and 3 Years Hollow on tour together.
Hell yes.
And maybe throw in a couple other local bands that pop up and call it the fucking Midwest Stomp Tour or something. You know what I mean? They'd probably put a cornstalk on the flyer.
Oh, absolutely.
Or
It
a
would, man.
farmhouse in the background.
exactly,
Fuck that.
dude. Yeah.
You guys should say that you're from New York.
Silos and smokestacks. Silos and smokestacks.
All right, this song's called Fail. This is 1152. because you were talking about your single being chopped up and edited.
Yeah, they sent us the radio edit for it, and I don't know if we're going to end up using that or not, but yeah, it just...
I mean, is it radically different?
Yeah, in a couple of places.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's not a long song anyway. It's no epic 8-minute thing. It's like 3 minutes, 20 seconds or something like that. Anyways, and I think radio wants it around 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you get to have an input on how the songs go, or?
Yeah, and it's getting more and more. Actually, I think when we start writing for the next album, we're going to do it all 5 of us together in the same room and do it that route. I mean,
that could be interesting. Yeah. Metallica tried that once. And
Saint Anger, I believe, was the result. My next door neighbor, who drove an IROC Z Camaro, and Poison was his favorite band, gave me the album Saint Anger, saying, "I just can't listen to this."
Really?
Yeah, that's right, man.
I think they made a huge mistake doing that documentary.
You know, when I saw Kirk Hammett wearing a pink button-down shirt, you know, with the top 3 buttons, not 2, 3 buttons open.
On his
Cowboy
horse
hat,
ranch.
Riding his horse.
Yeah.
I thought to myself...
Oh, you weren't the only one.
No. I thought to myself, well, there goes that idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I thought, you know, whatever idea that I had about Metallica up to that point was gone. But I think it's good, though. I think it's good, though, because everybody had to come to reality about who the people were behind these images and fantasies and projections.
But goddamn it, their job is to be my vacation. I don't want their lives to be like mine. I want to fantasize that they don't have a life like mine. That's kind of where I escape into that power of it. You know, now when I hear Metallica song, I know that James Hetfield probably took a break between that verse and that verse to go to his daughter's ballet class.
Yeah.
And will not fucking be in the studio past noon.
Right.
See, I gotta go. You know, and when you see that, it's like, oh man. And then know that Newstead quit because he said, I didn't have kids.
Yep.
Because music was my kids. I don't have a wife because music is my wife.
That's right.
I dedicated my life to making music. Yeah. And Metallica has now put Metallica on the back burner, and I'm out.
But I mean, I'm saying this, Brian, is that what it was, the shift. This actually is still a continuation of our earlier discussion, that the shift that happened was the same shift between, you know, hair metal and Nirvana, was that you didn't feel like when you were watching Kurt Cobain, like you were being shown something that disguised his internal life. Now, it turned out that, in fact, that was still the truth. We still did not know what was going on in his mind. But we knew that there was something about this idea that we had to have these people be like heroic people, like masters of the fucking universe, you know, working out every day and fucking 90 bitches and like doing, you know, a mountain of cocaine and all these fantasies that we had about what their life was like, that, you know, that we could not stand the lie of it, you know, and that's why I think that Nirvana kind of came to the fore.
We had this conversation with a radio station during an interview that they talked about. It's the social media. When that came to be, it kind of killed the whole mystery of the rock star, you know, because like back when we were growing up, you didn't know shit about anybody's life. And now you can see what they're doing all the time and how that affects things. And like, it can go both ways. Nowadays, now that you can see all that, it's cool to be able to see what everybody's doing and like get a piece of their personal life. But it's like you missed that mystery. But then again, back then, I was always wondering, I want to meet them. I want to know what they're like. I want to know what they're doing. Like, so it goes both ways nowadays, just like it did back then.
You know, that's something that always fascinated me with 3 Years Hollow and kind of how the bands are nowadays, which is, you know, before your show, you'll stand at the merch booth and be amongst the concert goers. And then after your show, you'll be right back to your merch booth, engaging with the audience. That idea never happened in the 80s.
Nope.
Right.
You never saw your favorite artist until they ran out on stage and the curtain dropped. And then when the curtain went back up, they were gone.
That's right. Yep.
And you didn't, you know, it was impossible to see them. Now it's a real hands-on thing where the fans can really approach the band. And that has to put a lot of pressure on you guys, because if you come off any way negative to them, fuck them guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that the people in the 80s stayed away because they didn't want to interact with the riff-raff that they could piss off if they didn't fulfill their whatever they wanted from them.
Right.
And personally, that's one of the most, like, that was probably my second favorite thing. Obviously, the playing every night, but I mean, that's my second favorite thing about touring. It's like, I love meeting people, especially if they're fans of the band.
Isn't
and
it great?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like that's half the fun for me is meeting up everybody.
I can see that. I can see that.
That's right. Because I mean, the truth is that the people that actually matter when you're out there in the crowd. I mean, this should seem obvious, but when you're in a position of, you know, for lack of a better word, superiority, because you've shown up and performed this act, you know, that sets you apart from the rest. You know, all being pretenders to the throne, perhaps. But you know, when you get out there, for the people that really matter, you get out there and you love them the best way you know how, and you smile at them and you talk to them and you ask them their names, and you're not afraid to make contact with them. And the people that matter, they will know that you did that. And the people that are going to suck anyway, they will look at that and they will not like it. You know, they will look at that and they will say, oh, you're just fake or blah, 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 or whatever, you know.
Well, that's what my whole point was the last episode.
And there's fewer of them. They're rare. Though I think those people are rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not an average person. The average person, I think, for the most part, if you talk with them like they're a real person,
fairly open and accepting.
Yeah, they're going to be cool with you, man. That's what I think.
I think that when you talk to the fans, you lose a little bit of magic. And that's because I came up in an era that, you know, I talked about it on the episode previously. I said that a lot of people thought I was an asshole because I wasn't very talkative before. You're one of them too?
Oh, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You went through a period where you were like, Brian Miner is a fucking
not an asshole, just unapproachable.
Unapproachable?
Yeah.
Like, what were you afraid was going to happen? I was going to punch you or something? What is unapproachable? Like, I would act too good for you or something?
Yeah, kind of. But now that I know
that in your head,
I have no idea.
Just the looks,
body language,
the persona.
It's very weird. It's
body
very
language.
weird.
It's just the vibes you put off.
Body language.
But now, you know what? You don't act any different when we're out in public. Like,
I think
Brian is always fucking
arm in arm.
I think that what happened to me was I was introduced to that magical rock. And I mean, my first band was Kiss, and I knew that they were not real, so they stayed out of. You never saw them. You could never see them. And then it was the whole magic of, you know, when you went to a show and you wait, you don't even know who they are. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden the curtain drops and you want the best, you got the best Kiss, and they come running out. It's like this adrenaline rush of, oh my God, there they are. And that rush of that, and then there they go. You don't get to see them. You don't get to see them. And then it went on through the 80s, and that whole persona of I'm unapproachable. You try to be mysterious. You know, I was trying to emulate my favorite bands, and I tried to run my band how other famous bands were doing, and that was trying to make yourself seem like you're, you know, unapproachable, I guess.
Right.
Just because that kind of gives you a little bit of that buzz or whatever.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You're right. Because it's funny you use the word buzz, because I was literally just about to say, it's just a different drug.
Yeah.
It's just a different drug of music, man. I mean, if you look at it in terms of like the unavoidable effects of music, that there is a certain ethic that's like built into people that serves. And you were one of those people that served in spades. Like, that made the most sense to you, that these people are apart. They're separate.
It was, yeah.
They're special. They're special people.
I feel bad about some of that, because I did kind of put off, like, don't get me wrong. I loved coming into a room, and you're going to get this. You get this all the time. I'm sure you do. And you have to have some sort of response to it. And that is when you walk into a room and you hear, that's so-and-so from what band.
Oh, yeah.
And they're pointing at you like, should we say something to them? I went through that.
And I'll be the first one to go up and talk to him if I hear that.
And I immediately go back to my forefathers, who was Paul Stanley. And when I saw him, he just kind of had that look on his face, like, like this. And I said, can I get a picture with you? And he's like, he didn't really say much. And so I go back to, that's how I should act in this situation. They think I'm cool, because they're saying, that's Brian from Drop Hammer, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that they're thinking I'm cool, so I kind of had to feel like, act cool. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
And then now I'm just like, shut up. And
sure,
I kind of got over that, but I did get that buzz. I liked that buzz.
Yeah.
And I felt special. That's what we talked about.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to feel special.
Everybody wants to feel special.
And I was really getting off on that drug.
I'm with you, but I mean, I think the thing about it is that the thing that I've always sort of shied away from about it was that I always felt like what it was trying to do was shield the world from finding out about your insecurities.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was, that I decided that I was going to not, that's kind of what Nirvana was for me, was the moment where I realized that it was actually not only okay, but actually in some way even more beautiful to let people become aware of your vulnerabilities. Like doing the thing that's the scary thing, and doing the thing that might be perceived as weak. You know, it's tough to do, especially, you know, when we're, you know, males and we're raised to try to be strong all the time and always be dominant. Human. Yeah. We have this stuff, they're mammalian trait. They're built into us, you know, the way we think and the way we perceive things. So, you know, when I realized that, though, I knew that I was onto something really great about new music in a way, because I could drop that. That's when I stopped listening to metal, really, at least habitually. I still listen to it. I still enjoy it. It still sounds good to me, but it's not like something I crave anymore. Yeah. You know, I kind of started getting away from it. That's around the time I started listening to Failure, which, you know, we haven't brought up Failure much at all on the show, but they're my favorite band in the world, and they play these big, nasty chords on distorted guitars, and it's a totally different, and have great vocal melodies and really cool lyrics, and, you know. So
on this last tour, Neil, that you did with 3 Years Hollow, you played in some legendary clubs. And because I was watching the itinerary and I saw in there, it's like, they're going to play the fucking Whiskey. Yeah. They're going to play the Whiskey. Some hometown boys are on tour right now on a record label, and they're about to play the Whiskey.
I remember seeing that.
I was absolutely jealous. So what was that experience like? What was the Whiskey like?
Well, it's right on Sunset Boulevard, like beautiful in California.
I know where the fuck it is, okay? I'm a fucking 80s fan. I know where the fucking Whiskey is.
So it's beautiful. The club itself, I mean, the history behind it's just ridiculous. They've even got this big plaque up talking about all the bands that got their start there and everything. As for the venue itself, it's cool. It's there's nothing that really stood out outside of the history of it. Stage was nice. The PA was great. There was 2 levels. We had our merch upstairs. Worst part about that whole situation is we had to park the RV about a mile away.
Wow.
Yeah.
We loaded in and go find parking. Try to find parking for a 40-foot rig in Los Angeles.
Van Halen played there a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I read all these autobiographies of these 80s bands, I mean, they had to fight tooth and nail. I mean, Stephen Pearcy's book said that he had to, like, fuck the booking agent there so that he could get, a chance to play on a Thursday night.
Woot!
And if you fucked her right, then pretty soon they worked up to Saturday, you know? So you can blame that on a horny cougar that did the booking at the Whiskey.
That's what I was going to say. It's like whoever owned the Whiskey, where they just like, okay, now what we need here is somebody who knows how to attract the talent.
And since when do girls go, so you want to play here, huh?
Yeah, right.
What are you willing to do? You willing to have sex with me? Since when does that happen?
Yeah. If you want this job, you're going to have to fuck me.
Yeah, girls.
Where does that happen?
Girls bitch about that way too much, man. Because if that's what it took to get me to the top, all right, whatever.
Exactly.
If that's going to get me signed and make me millions, all right, here.
Yeah, that ranks. Yeah, that would rank right up there with these little fucking lucky bastards that get to bang their hot teachers.
Yeah, I read that.
Teacher.
Dude.
Every time I read, that's a tough subject sometimes because women, my wife and I will argue about that because I'm like, the dude fucking won the lottery. And she's like, but it's still, he's young and, it's bad.
Of course. It's immoral for the teacher. I
remember being 14 through 16 and my French teacher was like, you weren't listening to anything she was saying. You were wondering what she looked like naked.
No.
And
you were concentrating on the complexities of her mouth movement as she said those foreign words.
Yeah. I don't know if I had a teacher like that.
But just imagine.
You went to Geneseo, man.
But what would you have done, though? Okay, you're 16 years old. You just got done with driver's ed. You go to your next class. It's French class. And you do that. You do okay. And then class is over. And the kind of cute teacher says, now, Neil, wait a minute.
Okay, is this audio only?
And she closes the door. And she's like, so... I mean, what? You know what I would do? I would fucking run. Probably, I would probably like pee myself and then leave.
No, and then have a boner for like 2 days, and then
2 days I'd go straight to my car,
and then regret the entire rest of your life.
Famous one.
No. But real quick story about the Whiskey. It was actually kind of funny. We were there. We had a photo shoot for Tattoo Magazine that day inside the Whiskey. And I was out smoking a cigarette out in front, and they always have these they're like vans that have been chopped that people ride in for tours of Sunset Boulevard. And, you're standing out there smoking a cigarette, you're dressed all in black, you got your laminate hanging off your side, like everybody thinks you're famous and tries to take a picture. And it was really funny because everybody thinks you're such a big deal, and it's like, not really.
Just,
Yeah.
Make sure that they're feeling like they're as big a deal as you are.
I got to be honest with you. I got to be honest with you about something. Something that bothers me about you, Neil.
Oh.
And it's something that maybe part of it's jealousy because I used to do the same thing. And that is when you get a stack of laminates when you're doing your shit, Like, no matter if you're playing or not, you still have them clipped to your pocket wherever you go.
I got rid of them. I finally realized they were still there. So. I wore the same pants for months at a time without washing them. So
I woke up and a lemon was on my pants already.
Because that reminded me of back when there was a UFC heavyweight champion. His name was Tim Sylvia, and he was from around here. Okay, and he trained out at Militich.
Yeah,
and he used to go to the grocery store with his belt, his heavyweight belt.
What?
All around his waist. Okay, so he wants everybody to know that I am somebody. I've got this big gold belt on, says heavyweight champ, UFC on it.
Because that's the same as a little 3x4 laminate hanging off your mouth.
It is. It kind of is.
Yeah.
It kind of is, because if you're not on tour, then having your laminates hanging off your pocket is saying, hey, I'm a band that's on tour, right? Or
maybe.
Right? Isn't it kind of like causing attention?
If you're a musician, most people probably wouldn't know what that is.
But you're the real deal. You're really doing it. But I see kids that have that like if they're playing at Rascals, they'll have passes on them that say their band name and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? You don't need fucking backstage passes to drive from your house to Rascals.
It's more like an accessory, because when we do play shows in town, I think most of us probably do have them on. But after that, now they're hanging in my car or something, I think.
Yeah,
but
yeah. And by the way, none of that really bothered me. It was just a conversation that we
You're
had.
just being a dick.
My wife pointed out that, hey, why do they still wear their laminates? Are they still on tour? I was like, no. And she's like, well, that reminds me of when we saw Tim Sylvia with his heavyweight belt on at the Hy-Vee.
I don't know, man.
You know, it's just kind of one of them things.
I don't know what it is about when guys wear their lammies or
He's
when
selling my wife out.
dudes wear those belts. It just makes me want to go down on them.
And that's what's cool about what we're doing here is I feel like it's almost like a therapy.
It is, man.
You know what I'm saying? And I hope that there's other people that can, vibe off of it, because we're actually saying it. I mean, come on, we're all injured here.
We are,
except for Neil. He's on the ride still, and we're grasping onto any kind of vicarious love that we can get through.
That's right.
No, I stubbed my toe. I stubbed my toe before, so I'm injured.
We're trying to heal ourselves vicariously through this, my friend.
Yeah, but like I said, congratulations on the record deal and on the tour. You guys are getting ready to go out on a. Well, let's start with the July 18th show that you have at Rascals.
Yeah.
Coming up, that's one of the coolest clubs, because when you get some people in that place and you get a show going in there, you definitely get a cool vibe, because it's just that size that it makes 250 people look like.
Dude.
Oh yeah, no matter what club you play, if you pack the place, it's going to be a cool, fun show. Like, there could be a 100 capacity club. You get 100 people in there, it's going to be awesome.
But I have a theory about all of that, man. That in fact, the best times I've always had in bars is when the population density is high. So I have this idea. Somebody with some money, patent pending, trademark. But no, somebody needs to invent a stage that's got movable walls, so that no matter how many people are in the joint, it always seems like the place is just jam-packed, because you can just make the room smaller.
You'd have to make the room smaller after everybody crams in there.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Everybody stand as close together in the middle as you can.
Yeah, you could tell them. I don't think it would affect the results, man. If you get people in close proximity and start playing some decent jams in front of them, they're gonna fucking blow up, man.
Yeah. Who do you want to play on the go out here? Who's going to get The Last Love? Should it be the Continuance?
I love the Continuance, man.
Me too.
I love me some Continuance.
Do you?
Yeah, play some Continuance, man. Let us hear Jacob Gregory's ninja skills.
Continue with the Continuance.
Yes, indeed.
This was episode 21 of Minor Disturbance Radio. 21 fucking episodes.
Damn,
Again,
dude.
thank you guys for clicking on the video. Tell your friends about it. Fucking make them watch it. And like grab them by the arm. It's like, God, you gotta fucking start watching this. What am I doing? Am I trying
he's making an appeal.
Yeah.
Hurt people in order to get them to watch.
Is this your marketing strategy?
Yeah.
That's the marketing strategy.
So anyway, thank you very much for watching. This is Minor Disturbance Radio, and we're signing off. See you next time.
Yeah, bye.